Roman delegate Marcus Licinius Crassus, an individual from the principal Roman magistrate and the most well-off man in Rome, has walked his huge multitude of 43,000 warriors straightforwardly through the deserts of Mesopotamia. Crassus had been captivated by the possibility of military brilliance and wealth, and as such has selected to attack the terrains of the incomparable Parthian realm. Considering his desire and certainty, Crassus has set out on this mission without true assent of the Roman Senate, and consequently he had raised the military through his own assets, another central point that tempted Crassus to set out on this mission to attack Parthia was the normal simplicity of the mission. The Roman armies had effortlessly squashed the mathematically predominant multitudes of other Eastern powers. For example, Pontus and Armenia. And Crassus anticipated that Parthia should be the same. After showing up in Syria, Crassus got backing of around 6,000 cavalry from Artavasdes. The Armenian Lord Artavasdes then encouraged him to take a course through Armenia, to stay away from the desert, and offered him further fortifications, in which Crassus declined the proposition, and chose to take the immediate course through Mesopotamia, and to catch the extraordinary urban communities in the district. In light of this ridiculous intrusion, the Parthian ruler disintegrates to partitioned his powers, and took the vast majority of his military, chiefly infantry, with foot bowmen, and a modest quantity of cavalry, and attacked Armenia to rebuff them for their coalition with the Romans dissolves. Then sent his other powers, and all cavalry power under the order of Spabad Serena to investigate and pester Crassus's military disintegrates. Didn't guess that Serena's vigorously dwarfed power would have the option to try and challenge Crassus's power, not to mention rout them dissolves. Just maintained that Serena should irritate and defer the Romans. Rationalist Plutarch depicted Serena's power as 1,000 mail-clad horsemen and a still more noteworthy number of light-equipped cavalry, including slaves and vassals. Serena's endeavor numbered 10,000 altogether, upheld by a stuffed train of 1,000 camels whom conveyed supplies, essentially stores of bolts. Subsequent to being educated regarding the presence of the Parthian armed force, Crassus's military was terrified. Crassus's, telling General Cassius, suggested that the military be sent in the customary Roman style, with infantry framing the middle and cavalry on the wings. At first, Crassus concurred, yet he before long adjusted his perspective and redeployed his men into an empty square, each side shaped by 12 partners. That development would safeguard his powers from being outmaneuvered, yet at the expense of versatility. The Parthians had been following the Roman armed force, and totally unmindful of Crassus and his men, they had strolled solidly into a snare. Two armed forces would meet close to the town of Carrhae. The stage was presently set. Serena sprung his assault. The Romans lifted their safeguards and prepared themselves for what was to come. Serena requested his weighty cataphracts forward to charge the front of the Roman lines, while the majority of his power, comprising of pony toxopholite, encompassed the Roman position. Catching them, set up the Parthian cataphracts in the wake of relaxing the Romans' guarded development, pull out all neat and tidy. This moment was the opportunity for Serena's excellent arrangement. The Parthian pony toxopholite rode forward and started ruling bolts down on the Romans, totally encompassed from all sides by quick riders. The Roman infantry were not adequately fast to seek after the Parthian light cavalry, and had to remain in line. The Parthian pony toxopholite proceed with their surge, albeit the Romans' safeguard and shield is for the most part successful at repulsing the bolt discharge. Some figured out how to escape everyone's notice, causing numerous losses. Crassus expected that his legionaries would fight off of a couple of bolt volleys before the Parthian pony bowmen ran out of bolts. Then he would arrange his men to give pursuit anyway. He was seriously confused, but Serena was very much aware of Roman military strategies, and in anticipation of the fight, he utilized his enormous parade of camels to convey reserves of additional bolts, which he then used to resupply his pony toxopholite on. The war zone. The Romans were currently caught under persistent gigantic bolt shoot, and couldn't persevere through this attack any more. Upon this acknowledgement, Crassus dispatched his child Publius with 2,000 or 3,000 cavalry and infantry to drive off the pony toxopholite. The pony bowmen pretended a retreat, and drew Publius's power further away from their fundamental power. Once Publius and his men were adequately isolated from the remainder of the military, the Parthian cataphract turned and defied them. While the pony bowmen cut off their retreat in the resulting battle, Publius and his men battled courageously, yet their mediocrity against the weighty Parthian cataphract was clear. They in the end were encircled, and Publius ended it all rather than being caught, while his other men were butchered. Crassus, uninformed about his child's destiny, yet understanding that Publius was in peril, requested a general development. He was stood up to with seeing his child's head on a lance. The Parthian pony, Toxophilite, started to encompass the Roman infantry and shot at them from all bearings. In the meantime, the cataphracts mounted a progression of charges against the scattered Romans. As the day came to an nearby, the Parthians pulled out back to their camp. The assault didn't stop until dusk, with the Romans having experienced weighty setbacks. Crassus, profoundly shaken and troubled by his child's demise, was surrendered of his order by individual Roman officials, whom accumulated the enduring Roman fighters, and requested a retreat to the close to local town of Carrhae, abandoning 4,000 injured Romans to fight for themselves. The next morning, Serena sent his cataphracts to polish off the couple of thousand injured Roman troopers, whom were passed on to kick the bucket, chopping them down without a very remarkable battle. Serena then sent an emissary to Carrhae, hoping to haggle with Crassus. Serena proposed a détente to permit the Roman armed force to get back to Syria securely in return for Rome surrendering an area east of the Euphrates. Serena either sent a consulate to the Romans by the slopes or went himself to state he needed a harmony gathering on a departure. Crassus was hesitant to meet with the Parthians, yet his soldiers took steps to revolt. In any case, it was accounted for that at the gathering Parthians pulled at Crassus's reins and ignited brutality wherein Crassus and his commanders were killed. After his demise, the Parthians purportedly poured liquid gold down Crassus's throat in an emblematic signal deriding his imminent eagerness. The leftover Romans at Carrhae endeavored to escape, yet most were caught or killed by the old history specialist Plutarch. Roman losses added up to around 20,000 killed and 10,000 caught, which made the fight perhaps of the costliest loss in Roman history. Parthian losses were negligible,